Now, the Prime Minister has been called petty after he cancelled a meeting with the Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis to avoid discussing the Parthenon marbles, also known as the Elgin marbles. Now, this is what Sunak said about it at Prime Minister's Questions this afternoon.
When it was clear that the purpose of a meeting was not to discuss substantive issues for the future, but rather to grandstand and relitigate issues of the past, it wasn't appropriate. But furthermore, when specific commitments and specific assurances on that topic were made to this country and then were broken, it may seem alien to him, but my view is when people make commitments, they should keep them.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, the Greek government denied that it ever made a promise to Rishi Sunak, and this is how Sir Keir Starmer summed up the whole thing.
Mr. Speaker, never mind the British Museum, it's the Prime Minister who's obviously lost his marbles.
There we go. I mean, it is also important to say in one of the answers that Sir Keir Starmer gave as well, because, of course, he did meet with the Greek Prime Minister the day before, and he said, well, I was perfectly capable to discuss security, immigration, among other things. And, yeah, the marbles came up, and I said, we're not going to be changing the law, and we discussed plenty of other things.
Yeah, but he's not Prime Minister.
Well, he's not, but he's looking like a Prime Minister.
Well, it depends where you stand.
Well, no, I mean, he's looking like a Prime Minister who takes a meeting with another foreign dignitary.
Oh, come on. I think, respectfully, you cannot compare Keir Starmer's timetable with that of Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak
so it was a time issue?
He's our Prime Minister, OK? We expect him to be diverted and absorbed by very important things in his timetable.
This was a scheduled 45-minute meeting.
And I can't say his name as well as you can.
Kyriakos Mitsotakis.
I love that, OK? You can just say that for the next 20 minutes. I'll be happy. OK, so given that high-level meeting that had been scheduled in the timetable to say, please, no grandstanding, we know what you think about the Elgin marbles, this is not the time to discuss it. He then does a deliberately provocative interview just before with Laura Kuenssberg, I think it was.
He was asked the question.
OK.
The Prime Minister of Greece doesn't set what's on Laura Kuenssberg's show.
He
can
could
guarantee
say,
you that.
OK, so he could say, actually, I'm not going to discuss it now, but it's fine for you to ask. Whatever it is, he's entitled to answer a question.
So a subject that the Greek government has been discussing since 1835, which when they first asked for them back, they should no longer talk about.
No, I'm not saying that, and I think you know I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this was an agreement was made. I think the Elgin marbles, the Parthenon marbles, should go back. I'm a huge Hellenophile.
Yeah.
The Acropolis Museum is beautiful. It's the perfect place for them. But I think if you get the chance to meet the Prime Minister and have a high-level meeting about really important issues, other than that, you should stick to it.
All right, Yasmin, I'm going to come to you in a second because a lot of people want to have their say. Colin in Staffordshire. Colin, what do you think? Was he right to say, look, I didn't want to talk about the marbles. The Greek PM was going to bring it up, and therefore I thought this is going to be a wasted meeting because we'd be talking about something I don't want to discuss?
No, he was wrong. He was clearly wrong. He was just being petulant. He was just being schoolboyish, simply because he didn't want to talk about something that doesn't belong to us. Yeah. It belongs to Greece. It's as simple as that. My own feeling, by the way, and to give you a comparison, is let's say I was a German captain in the Second World War. We've just invaded Holland. We've trashed a house, but I rather like a painting, and I nick it. I've stolen the painting. I then find that a senior officer, a general, also likes the painting, and I sell it to him. Now, it's the same with the Elgin marbles. The Elgin marbles were stolen by the Turks through invasion. Yeah. Along comes Lord Elgin, feels sorry for the Elgin, for the Parthenon sculptures. He feels sorry for them because he knows the Turks are going to grind them up and use them for, I don't know, fixing potholes or something. Subsequently, he then buys them from the Turks. He then sells them for less than he paid for them to the British Museum. Yeah. Now, all the time, they're stolen goods.
Yeah. OK, Colin, thank you. I mean, he did buy them off the occupying forces, the Ottoman occupying forces. He was never intending to put them in the British Museum. We were going to be in his museum. Some were also going to end up in his estate north of Edinburgh. And then he had a messy divorce and he had to get some money, so he sold them to the British government. But let's leave the marbles aside for a second. Let's focus on Rishi Sunak. Now, it's important to say that this has gone down very badly in Greece. I've been talking to my family. I've been reading the British press. It's actually been a gift to Greece because it just shows petulance on the British side. And you have Greek ministers saying, well, I mean, if you look at his polls, no wonder he wants to make some sort of statement. I mean, this has gone down terribly diplomatically for Rishi Sunak, Yasmin.
And Colin said it best, actually. He's given us the summary of what needs to be thought about. He's petulant, he's like a schoolboy, and also at some level, and this is really important, this country still suffers from the vestiges of imperial supremacy. This idea that the head of another nation, equal status, to our Prime Minister, can be dealt with in this way because he did not agree to allegedly a private deal. Now, Suella Braverman said she had a deal with Rishi Sunak about immigration.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
Right.
I don't remember.
Perhaps the deal memos get lost. It's important to say that the Greek government were offered a meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister, Oliver Dowden. They declined. I don't know if that says...
Who wants to meet Oliver Dowden?
Poor Oliver Dowden. Let's hear from Keith in Pembrokeshire. Keith, what do you think about Rishi Sunak's decision not to meet the Greek Prime Minister because he didn't want to be... He said that the Greek Prime Minister would be grandstanding. Now, let's bear in mind, this was a private 45-minute meeting. The Greek Prime Minister could have said, I want to talk about the marbles. Rishi Sunak could have said, I don't, let's move on.
Kalimera, Mr. Conran.
Kalimera, ευχαριστώ πολύ. Kalimera. What would you like to say?
Τι κάνεις?
Πολύ καλά, ευχαριστώ. Εσείς καλά.
Oh, it's like a fish called wonder.
Okay, right, let's include everyone now. Go on, Keith, what would you say?
Well, look, simple, plain and simple, the guy should hang his head in shame at the end of the day. You know, to do what he did is so arrogant, and it's arrogant to the level of being British, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With his arrogance and the arrogance of the British Museum, you know, these people don't stand a chance. And I think the reason why he rushed off and said, I can't see you today, I'm busy, he probably went to see his tailor to have his trousers lengthened or something.
Cheap shot, Keith, cheap shot. Cheap shot, but thank you. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Let's take another quick one. Wendy in Bedfordshire. Wendy, good afternoon. What would you like to say?
Good afternoon. I absolutely think it's a disgrace. How dare he not have a meeting with the Greek Prime Minister? What message are we sending to Greece? I think I believe they belong back in Greece, and I just think he's an absolute disgrace, and he's meant to be representing all of us. And I just think he needs to hang his head in shame.
All right, Wendy, thank you. It has not gone down well.
It hasn't gone down well.
And it has not gone down great with the Greek people. They do actually feel offended.
Yeah, I know. And actually, when I've visited Greece many, many times, particularly Athens, and, you know, you get in contact with people and they say, give us our marbles back.